You are watching, oi. I got proper loaded, and now they're all swearing loyalty to me. He said, Miss Lin, have we ever done it here in the kitchen before? As he slowly touched Lin Yuchang's back, Lin Yuchang said, I don't think so. As they kissed, Lin Yuchang said, Shen Yuan said, Miss Lin, let's go over there. Bing smoked outside. Lin Yuchang said, Shen Yuan, as she looked out the window. Lin Yuchang said, I can't take it anymore, as she sweated. A few moments later, Lin Yuchang's heart rating towards Shen Yuan was at 77. Lin Yuchang said, Want a bowl? Shen Yuan said sure. He said to himself, Miss Lin's affection's almost at 80, among all the NPCs below 90% affection. Only Councillor Li at 84 is higher than her. Looks like I can speed things up. Once her affection reaches 90, not only can I unlock rewards, but it'll also be safer to spend money on her for cashback. Shen Yuan said, Miss Lin, is there anything you need? Lin Yuchang said, I don't need anything. I already have a house, a car, and quite a bit of savings. Shen Yuan said, Then let's get you a better car. Since you're divorced now, there's no need to keep using something left behind by your ex. Pick one when you have time. Budget, 2 million. Lin Yuchang said, 2 million? That's too expensive. Shen Yuan said, It's not. If you're driving, you should drive something nice. Send me the details once you've decided, and I'll transfer the money. Lin Yuchang teared up as she blushed and said to herself, I was married to Zhang Shanyong for so many years, and he never bought me anything. Shen Yuan and I have only been together for a month, yet he's already offering to replace my car with a 2 million yuan one. The important thing is, this already is after we've become a couple. Ever since Shen Yuan appeared in my life, he's been like a salvation to me, like a guiding light. Even though I only got divorced yesterday, today I've experienced more happiness than I did in all those years combined. As her rating suddenly jumped to 80, she hugged him and cried, making Shen Yuan feel her huge melons, and whispered, Shen Yuan. Shen Yuan, shocked, said to himself, another 3-point increase. As they kissed, Shen Yuan said, 1 minute later, Shen Yuan said, You okay? He said to himself. I didn't expect Ms. Lin's affection to rise this much. It even went up another point, reaching 81. What should I call this? Winning people over through sheer capability. Lin Yuchang said, Yeah, I'll be fine after resting for a bit. I've got plenty of free time. Is there anything I can help with in your business? Don't get me wrong, I just want to share some of the burden. Shen Yuan said, What was your major? Have you worked before? Lin Yuchang said, I majored in business administration. After graduating, I worked in an administrative position at a company. Then I got married after about a year. Shen Yuan said to himself, Business administration, administrative experience, and she even ran a cafe before. That's actually quite relevant. Maybe I could let Ms. Lin practice by managing one of the yoga studios. He said, I have several yoga studios. If you're interested, I can arrange an administrative position for you. Once you're experienced enough, you can help manage them. Lin Yuchang said, Sure, as long as I can help you, I'll do my best. The next day at Changjiang Golf Club, Shen Yuan got out of his car and said to himself, Last night, Principal Yang sent me a message asking me to attend the International Studies Elite Alumni Networking event. Joseph, while looking at Shen Yuan, said to himself, The influential people I usually meet are all very composed and steady. This is the first time I've met someone so lively. Cheng said to Shen Yuan, Hello, Mr. Shen, just give your name at the entrance, and you'll be let in. As an old man tried to get inside. 5 minutes later, Shen Yuan said, Brother, what's going on? Len sweated and said, This gentleman's electronic invitation isn't showing up in the system. We've already asked a colleague to verify his identity. Please wait a moment. The old man said, How about you go in first? Shen Yuan said, Thanks, here's my invitation. Len said, Thank you, Mr. Shen, please come in. Shen Yuan said, Sir, what's your name? I'll ask about it once I'm inside. The old man said, Hua Zhongqi. Shen Yuan said, Got it. Shen Yuan entered and said, "Principal Yang, sorry I'm late." Principal Yang stood up and said, "Not at all, you're right on time. You probably already understand the purpose of this networking event. Among your senior alumni there are influential people from both business and government circles. But there are also a few second-generation heirs who are just here for appearances. You'll have to judge for yourself." Shen Yuan said. "Understood." "Oh, Principal Yang." Someone named Hua Zhongqi was stopped outside because his electronic invitation wasn't recognized. "He's one of our alumni too, right?" Principal Yang said, "What?" "He's still outside." "My phone was on silent, I must have missed his call." Vice Principal Xu, "Please go and bring Hua Zhongqi in." Xu said, "Right away." Shen Yuan said, "Who is he?" Principal Yang said, "The district chief of Yuelu district. He's only 36 years old and currently the youngest district-level official with real authority in Xingcheng. Isn't your company located in Yuelu district? Once he arrives, make sure to introduce yourself." A few moments later, Principal Yang said, "Zhongqi, sorry about that. My phone was on silent." "Shen Yuan, this is District Chief Hua." "Zhongqi, Shen Yuan is still a student. He'll be senior after summer break and is also the owner of Jingfu Health Management." Shen Yuan said, "Hello, District Chief." Hua Zhongqi said, "Hello. Good thing you helped ask about me, or I'd still be stuck outside. And there's no need to keep calling me District Chief. I graduated in 2004. Just call me Senior." Shen Yuan said, "All right, Senior." As they shook hands, Hua Zhongqi said, "The health industry is a great field. People care more and more about their health these days. This industry definitely has huge growth potential. Keep it up." Shen Yuan said, "I agree, Senior. I'll work hard, and you're always welcome to visit our company and give us guidance." A few moments later, Shen Yuan said, "If someone who developed Yuelu district so successfully could offer us a little advice, Jingfu might become Xingcheng's #1 health management company next year." Hua Zhongqi said, "I'm no economic expert, but Yuelu district does have a health management industry survey planned for next month." As they toasted, Shen Yuan said to himself, as expected, connections make things much easier. Those with the right contacts can prepare for policies before they're even officially announced. Everyone else waits around and often misses the opportunity entirely. "I need to make the most of this connection with Senior Hua." Xu looked at them and said to himself, "No wonder he got close to old Yang. He's really smooth when it comes to flattering people." In a distance, Xu Baoping said, "Have you seen that guy before?" Xu Baoping's friend said, "Is this his first time here?" "I think so. He's really young. Did you notice the outline of his chest muscles under his clothes? Not something you see every day." Xu Baoping said, "Baoping's got her eye on someone again." Xu Baoping said, "Then go ask for his WeChat. Let's see if he pays attention to you." Xu Baoping's friend said, "Forget it. I'm too fragile for a man that strong." Xu Baoping said, "Give me a break. Didn't you visit a private club recently? How were the male models there? I'm still waiting for that 1,000-word review." As she looked up in the air and smelled the wine, Jin Jifa waved at Shen Yuan. Shen Yuan said hello to Jin Jifa. Jin Jifa said, "I was the middleman in the Fei Bing situation. Fei Bing approached me first. Then I had my cousin pass the message to you. I hope you don't take it personally. I was in a difficult position because our family does business with theirs." Shen Yuan shook his hand and said, "It's fine. Kangwen already explained everything to me. You did nothing wrong." Xu Baoping said, "Pei Wei, why have you been so quiet? I brought you here today hoping to introduce you to someone. See anyone you like?" Xu Baoping's friend said, "Pei Wei's still young. She's at the age where looks matter most. How could she be interested in the men here?" As Zhou Pei Wei looked at Shen Yuan, Xu Baoping said, "Pei Wei, how about I demonstrate for you? I'll teach you how to pursue a man. When a woman takes the initiative, 9 out of 10 times she'll succeed." Zhou Pei Wei said, "That's not necessary, cousin." Xu Baoping said, "Look at you, acting like you've never even dated before. It's almost painful to watch." Jin Jifa whispered to Shen Yuan, "The woman over there seems interested in you. The one in the red evening dress is Shu Baoping. Her family's pharmaceutical company is one of the biggest in Xinjiang. We were in the same graduating class. Interested? Shen Yuan said. Thanks, but she's not really my type, he said to himself. The one beside her in the traditional dress catches my eye more, much more conservative. But that slender waist looks as if a strong breeze could carry her away, and her figure's just right. Wait, something seems off. She's probably wearing a chest binder. A normal bra wouldn't spread things out like that. What's the matter, big chest, and still self-conscious? Shu Baoping said, Jin Jifa, aren't you going to introduce? Jin Jifa said, This is Shen Yuan, our junior. He owns a health management company with 2 fitness centers, 1 yoga studio, 1 health check center, and soon 4 additional yoga studios. He's probably the first person to attend this networking event before even graduating. Shu Baoping said to Shen Yuan, Hello, I'm Shu Baoping, Shen Yuan said. Hello, I'm Shen Yuan. As they shook hands, Shu Baoping pressed Shen Yuan's palm quickly, like pressing the on-off button of a fidget toy, and said, You're so much younger than us. Asking you to call me senior sister isn't too much, is it? She said to herself. Good looks, great figure, and the bonus of being a younger schoolmate. I'm starting to get excited, as she continued to press the palm of Shen Yuan uncontrollably. Shen Yuan said, Really? You're not exactly that big yourself, are you? Shu Baoping said to herself. I haven't even started driving yet, and you've already taken things straight onto the highway. As Zhou Peiwei looked at them from a distance, Shu Baoping said, You can't tell whether it's big or not just by look. Shen Yuan said, If looking isn't enough, then why don't you take the lead? As Zhou Peiwei looked at them confused, Jin Jifa said, Ahem, he said to himself. Didn't expect Shen Yuan to be such a flirt. Shu Baoping said, You're so good at talking, who knows if you're all talk and no action? As she stared down at Shen Yuan's pants, Shen Yuan said to himself, I always thought rich girls were supposed to be reserved and elegant. Today's really shattered my worldview. If I keep responding, this is basically flirting. He tried to change the subject and said, When does the banquet start? Jin Jifa looked at his cheap watch and said, 20 more minutes. Shen Yuan walked away, saying, Let's go take a look over there. Jin Jifa said, Sure. Shu Baoping said, These young guys nowadays are like a pig wearing a bra, one trick after another, push and pull. That's my specialty. Zhou Peiwei said, Cousin, what does taking the lead mean? As she whispered softly to Zhou Peiwei blushed and sweated and said, Ah! Shu Baoping's friend said, Baoping, you said you'd set an example for Peiwei. Is this all you've got? Shu Baoping's other friend said, Looks like you're not as impressive as the rumors say. Besides, the junior seems to think you're small. Makes sense. Men these days all like bigger ones. Shu Baoping said, Excuse me, I'm a 34 degrees Celsius, other than my cousin who's bigger than me here. Shu Baoping's friend said, That can't be right. Peiwei looks about the same as you, maybe even a little smaller. As she giggled, Zhou Peiwei sweated and blushed. Shu Baoping looked at Zhou Peiwei's chest and said to herself, If my cousin actually took off that chest binder, she'd blind all of you. Then you'd see what natural talent really looks like. A few moments later, Zhou Peiwei looked at Shen Yuan from a distance. Shen Yuan said to himself, Something's off about that girl's gaze. She keeps looking at me. Once wouldn't be strange, but it's happened 3 or 4 times. As Zhou Peiwei looked away blushing, Shu Baoping said, I don't like this Sicilian wine. The fruit flavor's too weak, and it's a bit bitter. I still prefer Harlan from the States. As a creep listened from afar and blushed, he said, Miss Shu really has excellent taste. The brewing process at Harlan Estate is extremely meticulous. I've heard even the vineyard harvests grapes by section according to fruit quality. Shu Baoping said, What do you think? Shen Yuan said, What do I think? This damn wine isn't that great. I'd rather drink craft beer and enjoy myself. The creep said, How can beer and wine even be compared? Clearly you haven't done your homework. Shen Yuan said, It's all alcohol in the end. What's with ranking one above another? I drink because I enjoy the taste and the feeling. What do I care about brewing techniques or history? As the creep looked down and said, Xu Baoping said, I think the junior's right. It's just alcohol. There's no such thing as noble or low class. Shen Yuan, do you play golf? Shen Yuan said, I don't. Xu Baoping's favorability towards Shen Yuan suddenly became 60. Xu Baoping said, Really? I can teach you. I'm pretty good at it, but I'll have to charge you. Shen Yuan said to himself, I can redeem a system skill card any time, though if Zhou Peiwei's the one teaching me, that's not entirely impossible. He said, I'm not interested in golf. Jin Jifa said to himself, the Xu family's one of Sing City's pharmaceutical giants. Is Shen Yuan really rejecting an olive branch that's practically being handed to him? Even if Xu Baoping's private life is messy, she's attractive and has a great figure. He wouldn't exactly be losing out. Xu Baoping said, if you ever need it, just come find me. You have my business card anyway, and don't forget to add me on WeChat. Shen Yuan said, Okay. As he gargled the wine, Xu Baoping's friend whispered, Wow, is this the first time Baoping's ever been Xu Baoping's other friend said, Looks like this junior won't be easy to win over. Even Baoping stumbles sometimes. What a world! Xu Baoping said to herself, You don't get it. The harder the meat is to bite into, the better it tastes when you finally do. Just wait. You'll all be jealous later. Xu Baoping's friend said to herself, looking closely, This young man really is quite unusual. Xu Baoping's other friend said to herself, Looks and physique are just the basics. Being interesting and having that rebellious charm are the bonus points. A 22-year-old guy who has all four. I can't even imagine. As they stared at Shen Yuan after the banquet, Zhou Peiwei called Luo Binjing and said, Binjing, I saw Shen Yuan today. Luo Binjing said, Where? Zhou Peiwei said, At an alumni networking event my cousin brought me. Luo Binjing said, An alumni event? Why would he be there? Zhou Peiwei said, No idea, maybe because he's outstanding. Luo Binjing said, Did anything interesting happen? Zhou Peiwei said, Quite a lot. My cousin seemed to like him and showed interest several times. As Luo Binjing blushed in her room, she said to herself, Peiwei was my classmate in high school, and our universities are close, so we've spent a lot of time together these past few years. Her cousin Xu Baoping has joined us a few times too. She's a real expert when it comes to relationships. As for Shen Yuan, Zhou Peiwei said, I feel like Shen Yuan kind of likes me. He kept looking at me. Luo Binjing said, If you weren't looking at him, how would you know he was looking at you? Zhou Peiwei said, That's true. Luo Binjing said to herself, Shen Yuan isn't the type to fall for a girl that easily. Wait, that's not right. The female colleague who was with him at Sunset Camp, and the woman he had dinner with at IFC. Their relationships with Shen Yuan didn't seem ordinary at all. Zhou Peiwei said, But I think Shen Yuan's kind of a pervert. He kept looking at my chest, not just mine. He looked at my cousin's too, but he only glanced at hers a few times before losing interest. Maybe he thought hers were too small. As she smelled her Chinese phone and blushed, Luo Binjing said to herself, Shen Yuan really hasn't changed. He still likes breasts that much. Back when I'd just started developing, he could play with them for over half an hour. Thinking about it now, how did I ever let him do that? Come to think of it, Peiwei was wearing a binder today, and Shen Yuan still noticed. Was her outfit too revealing? Or was she deliberately trying to tease him? Am I going crazy? Why am I suddenly thinking like this? Shen Yuan and I don't have anything to do with each other anymore. Luo Binjing said, Forget it. If he's a pervert, he's a pervert. It's none of my business now. Zhou Peiwei said, Still, even though he's like that, a lot of women seem to like him. Not just my cousin. Several of her friends seemed interested too. Luo Binjing said, What about you? Zhou Peiwei said, Me? No way. She looked outside and said to herself, How could I fall for a guy that quickly? I've only met him once, besides he's your first love, Yin Ying. Suddenly she saw Shen Yuan walking alone and said, "Huh," she said to herself. "Why do I think I just saw Shen Yuan? Huh? Could Yin Jing actually be right? Do I like him?" Shen Yuan called. "I'm almost there. I'll be staying over at your place tonight, Ms. Li." Li Xiao said, "Okay, I'll open the door for you." As Shen Yuan waited for the elevator, a few moments later, Li Xiao opened the door and said, "How much did you drink?" Shen Yuan said, "I honestly don't remember." Li Xiao said, "Come in first, sit on the sofa while I make you some hangover tea." Shen Yuan said, "Okay." 5 minutes later, Li Xiao said, "I added some honey, chrysanthemum, nutmeg, and angelica. Careful, it's hot." Shen Yuan said, "Miss Li, do you make hangover tea often?" Li Xiao said, "Sometimes when my dad comes home after drinking, my mum gets too busy, so I'd make it for him." Shen Yuan said, "What do your parents do?" Li Xiao said, "My dad's a criminal investigator, and my mum's a middle school teacher." Shen Yuan sweated and said, "A criminal investigator? The kind that carries a gun?" Li Xiao blushed and said, "But he's away on assignments a lot, sometimes for 10 days or even half a month. My mum's on summer vacation now and my dad took leave. They're coming to visit Li Meng and me tomorrow. Shen Yuan, let's have a meal with them." Shen Yuan smelled the tea and said, "Miss Li, do we really have to meet them tomorrow?" He said to himself, "If it were any ordinary profession, even a regular police officer, I wouldn't be this nervous, but he's a criminal investigator. If he finds out both his daughters are, what if he loses his temper? Still, what's coming can't be avoided." Li Xiao said, "I've already told them you'll be here tomorrow, but if something comes up, I can explain it to them. I'm sure they'll understand." She said to herself, "We've only just started dating. Meeting my parents already feels a little too soon." Shen Yuan said, "It's okay. I'm just a little nervous. Of course I'll meet them. What time will they arrive tomorrow?" Li Xiao said, "Around 11 a.m. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Whatever happens, we'll face it together. My parents are very open-minded. Even though we were teacher and student, they may not necessarily object." Shen Yuan said, "Okay." Li Xiao said, "I'll go take a shower first." Shen Yuan sent a message to Fu Yingzi saying, "Secretary, get up early tomorrow and help me buy a few things." She replied, "Yes, boss." Suddenly Xu Baoping sent a message saying, "Why don't you come over to my place? We can bet everything on a toast together." Shen Yuan said to himself, "Trying to seduce me? Dream on. If you send your cousin instead, I might consider." Suddenly Li Meng jumped at Shen Yuan on the couch. Shen Yuan said, "Why is Miss Li in such a rush? It's not like I'm going anywhere." Li Meng said, "Shen Yuan, it's me." As she covered his mouth, Shen Yuan said, "Li Meng, what are you doing?" Li Meng said, "Brother-in-law, I want." Shen Yuan said, "If you want something, just message me. Aren't you afraid your sister'll find out if you come into her room?" Li Meng said, "I did message you. You never replied." Shen Yuan said, "Go back to your room first. Once your sister's asleep, I'll come see you." He said to himself, "Ms. Li could come out at any moment. I can't afford to get caught now." Li Meng said, "Then, how long will it be?" Shen Yuan said, "Hard to say. Depends on when your sister falls asleep." Li Meng said, "Are you two going to do that tonight?" as she pinched Shen Yuan's face. Shen Yuan said, "Why do you have so many questions? Just go back to your room and wait." As she frustratedly walked towards her room, Shen Yuan said to himself, "This feels strangely familiar. Oh right, it's just like the first time I snuck into my partner's room. Now the roles have completely reversed. One moment she seems completely uninterested, and the next she's incredibly enthusiastic. I really can't figure her out." As he walked towards the bathroom, he peeked at Li Xiao and said to himself, "Her room's close to the bathroom anyway. I'll tease her a little first." Li Xiao said, "Geez, Shen Yuan, stop startling me." Shen Yuan said, "How's that startling you? I'm just adding a little excitement to our everyday life." Li Xiao said, "Shen Yuan, I've been feeling more and more strange lately." Shen Yuan said, "It's okay, I'm here." Li Xiao said, "Shen Yuan, can we go to the bed?" Shen Yuan said, "Let's stay here, turn around." Li Xiao said, "Shen Yuan, no, not here. Li Meng is right next door, she'll hear us. Shen Yuan said, it's okay, be good, she's already asleep. Li Xiao said, ah. As Li Meng sat on the floor saying to herself, brother-in-law, 3 minutes later. Shen Yuan said, feeling better now, Ms. Li? Li Xiao said, let me help you wash up, then we'll head back to the bedroom. After midnight, Li Xiao was sleeping and said, phew. Suddenly Shen Yuan came inside Li Meng's room. Li Meng suddenly hugged Shen Yuan from behind and said, brother-in-law, you finally came. Shen Yuan said, I remember your uniform wasn't this one. Li Meng said, this is the uniform from my internship, I dug it out specially. Shen Yuan said, why did you go out of your way to wear this one? Li Meng said, I have to wear my other uniforms to work. I was afraid you'd get them dirty. Shen Yuan said, fair enough. That's actually a reasonable explanation. So tell me, why were you so eager tonight? As he carried her, he said, You're really not going to tell me? Li Meng said, I was already in the heat tonight. Shen Yuan said, then answer me this. While your sister and I were in the bathroom earlier, did you touch yourself? Li Meng hugged Shen Yuan and said, once. Shen Yuan said, I see. When you're talking to me, aren't you forgetting something? Li Meng said, brother-in-law, brother-in-law, brother-in-law. Shen Yuan said, what do you want your brother-in-law to do? Li Meng said, I want my brother-in-law to violate me and make a mess of me. Is that okay, brother-in-law? Thank you for watching Rebirth Genesis. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you will not miss the next chapter of the journey. Your support keeps this rebirth going strong. Until next time, stay sharp and keep rising beyond your limits.